through the eyes of a person whose primary focus is gambling, what were the biggest takeaways coming out of Cowboys-Bucks last night?
On one side of the equation, Greeny, with Tampa Bay, to be -3 in turnover differential, to be outgained in total yardage, to watch your opponent hold the ball for 35 of 60 minutes, and to commit over 10 penalties for over 100 yards and still win the game shows just how deadly Tampa Bay can be this season. With all those mistakes, with the sloppy play left and right, they were still very, very good, courtesy of Tom Brady. On the other side of the equation, there's going to be a lot of love for Dallas. And I was just listening to you, and you make great points, and I don't disagree with any of them. There's going to be a lot of love for Dallas coming off what people saw last night, especially with Prescott looking healthy. I would say this. They're going to have extra rest to get ready for next week's game against the Chargers. If the Chargers go to Washington and lose that game or look sloppy, the entire world will be on Dallas next week, which will probably create an opportunity to bet the other way on the Chargers. Just keep that in mind 1 week from today.
Yeah, I think that's an important point because as we pointed out at the end of the show yesterday, at the time that we were on the air, in this hour yesterday, 93% of the money was on Tampa -8.5. And I don't know a fraction of what you know about this stuff, Joe, but I do know that if 93% of the money is on the sun rising in the east and setting in the west, I'm going the other way. and so maybe to that extent, last night was easier to see coming.
Always keep that in mind. Always. I mean, these casinos here that I can see out the window in Las Vegas, they were not built on the backs of consensus from the betting public. They were built on the outliers. And last night, you watched that line continue to climb. We'll get into some college football in a second. There's a game earmarked where everyone's going to be going one way and you should consider the other. Always keep that in mind. The contrarian play, the outlier play, sometimes it's not the worst decision in the world when it comes to sports betting.
All right, I like that. This is an education for me and hopefully for a lot of people listening. Greeny, presented by Progressive Insurance, reminding you can look like $1 million with Dollar Shave Club. Upgrade to a DSC 6-blade razor for a noticeably smooth shave thanks to their 6 precision-cut stainless steel blades. Find your perfect shave wherever you shop, in-store and online at dollarshaveclub.com. That's dollarshaveclub.com. Okay, here we go.
This is a perfect opportunity for you to try some active listening.
Unsolicited advice.
Unsolicited advice from our betting analyst and expert, Joe Fortenbaugh. Let's do it. NFL Week 1, the full day Sunday is 2 days away. Where is the money flowing as we approach Sunday?
Number 1, your beloved New York Jets are taking some action. Carolina was as high as -4.5. It has come down to 4. I'm not going to be the least bit surprised if it gets down to 3.5 as well. Number 2, the Washington football team. They were originally a 1-point underdog hosting the Chargers. Austin Eckler battling a hamstring injury. Washington is now a 1-point favorite. The Cleveland Browns were a 6-point underdog in Kansas City to take on the defending AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs. That number has dropped down to 5.5, as low as 5 in some places. There's money coming in on the Browns. The Denver Broncos were a 1-point favorite in New York against the Giants. That's all the way up to 3. A lot of love for Denver and Teddy Bridgewater, and a lot of people very, very suspicious of how the Giants are going to look early in the season with Daniel Jones at quarterback. And then finally, some money coming in on the Saints. Green Bay was a 4.5 point favorite for that neutral site game in Jacksonville. It is now down to Green Bay -3.5.
Okay, so the money is coming in heavy on the Jets, Washington, the Browns, the Broncos, and the Saints. Give me one of those plays that you like and one of them that you don't like.
Washington, without question. Washington playing at home, big situation here. Ron Rivera, as a head coach in the NFL, dating back to the beginning of his time in Carolina, in week 1, his defenses are giving up an average of just 15 points per game. Say what you want about his offenses and anything else. His defenses come to play at the beginning of the season, and he's got a good one led by Chase Young this season. They upgraded quarterback with Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's going to be able to protect the football. Plenty of weapons around him. Chargers breaking in a new head coach in Brandon Staley. They're coming all the way across the country for an early start time. I like Washington in that matchup. One I disagree with, and I hate to say it because I know you're a Jets fan, I side a little bit with Carolina here. I'm surprised the Jets are taking money. I think the future's bright. I used to cover the Niners in San Francisco. Robert Saleh is a great candidate to be a solid head coach. But I think there's a long way to go, especially with that secondary. And with Joe Brady having an offseason to work with Sam Darnold, with the defense making big gains on that side of the ball after making a gain last year, even though they lost Luke Kuechly. I think Carolina is going to be very formidable this season.
Yeah, I don't have a good feeling about that at all. This is not, and it's also Sam Darnold's Super Bowl. I mean, I can't imagine any player is going to want to win a game more than he's going to want to win that. Again, Greeny and Joe Fortenbaugh are betting analysts. What else are you looking at week one? What are some other plays you like?
I'm going to be with the public on this one, but I will lay the 7.5 with the Rams over the Bears on Sunday Night Football. Sean McVay is a head coach of the St. Louis Rams, 4-0 straight up, 4-0 against the spread in week one. His offenses are averaging 32 points per game in week one. His defenses are giving up just 16 points per game. I think the Bears got big problems along the offensive line and at the cornerback position. I'll also be taking a look at Pittsburgh plus 6.5 against Buffalo. This is strictly based on two things. One, love the Bills this year. This isn't a knock on them. This is just too many points when you're going against a very balanced Pittsburgh team that has a head coach in Mike Tomlin who is 65% for his career as an underdog. I believe he's 42-20 against the spread when in the underdog position. I think that's going to be a much tighter game than people realize. I'll take the points with the Steelers.
Okay, like it a lot, Joe. And then one more. Give me a good college play. Give me, for all the college football fans out there, give me one you have your eye on from the college weekend.
I'd lay 1.5 with NC State over Mississippi State. They're on the road. They've got extra time to get ready as they beat South Florida last Thursday. They run a 3-3-5 defense, which is tailor-made to limit what Mike Leach's air raid offense can do. NC State's a sleeper team this year. I'd lay the 1.5 with them. I'd also look to Washington in that matchup with Michigan. That's the overreaction special of the week. Michigan looks good against Western Michigan. Washington falls on its face against Montana. Everyone wants to bet against Washington. There could be weather elements in that game. Winds could be high. I think Washington's going to bring a good defense there, and I want the points in my pocket. Keep your eye on that one as the world's going to want to back the Wolverines.
What is the number on that? What is Michigan favored by? Do you know? I mean,
Michigan was a 4-point favorite. It got all the way up to 7, and now we're seeing resistance on the key number of 7. Some books have come back to 6.5. If you can get 7 with Washington, I think you're in good shape come Saturday night.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.